Lewis is about net migration.
Net migration set to break 1 million mark for the first time. I mean, it's gotten carried out. It's like what they used to say about business. What they say about the government and the House of Congress. You know, Congress, $1 billion here, $1 billion there. After a while, you're talking about real money.
Yeah.
And it's 1 million people here, 1 million people there. After a while, in 20 years, that's possibly...
Well, I know this is something that you're worried about, Nicholas, isn't it? In particular, I've heard you talk about this before. So what are your thoughts here?
Well, the promise was initially to bring it down to tens of thousands. Do you remember that? Ever since that Con-Lib government coalition of 2010.
Well, that takes me back. The days of yore. OK. But that promise has not been fulfilled.
Exactly. We mentioned Rwanda. By the way, how about people who like pineapples on their pizzas on that plane, if it eventually takes off? But will it take off?
I would support that.
Send them away. That's a callback for the fans of stand-up comedy. But the point is that the country is becoming... is changing beyond recognition, and we already see this in areas of London, and we already see it in the big cities, and people have a right to say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, but Nicholas, you know, London has always been multi-ethnic, and there's always been these kinds of complaints. I read Peter Ackroyd's book on London. He was talking about, you know, all the way that people really objected to the Polish people in Whitechapel or the Jewish population, all sorts of things. There have always been these kind of concerns. Isn't one of the great things about London and about the big cities that we are multi-ethnic?
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I come from America.
You're an American Jewish man.
Eventually, over time, it takes a long time for people to get used to living with each other. The Angles and the Saxons are just now getting used to living with the Jews.
We're only now working it out.
And the Danes and the whatever.
I just find it incredible that you know, we've got an Iranian, Italian, and an American Jew, and I'm the guy saying, actually, isn't it great that we've got more diversity?
London is meant to be the capital of England. Ultimately, it's supposed to be England, because if I come to England because I want to live with the English, right, and speak English and hear English, and just to give you a bit of an Italian perspective, if you drop a few drops of water into a glass of wine, it is still wine. But when it becomes 50% water, you can no longer call it wine.
You can't sell it.
Well, you can, and get in a lot of trouble for it.
Yeah. So the thought that I had, which I think I've lost, is that immigration is good. I grew up in New York, and in New York in the 1950s, there was massive immigration from America and from Puerto Rico and the islands of the Caribbean. Yeah. And it's just taken till now for those people to become fully at home.
It feels like America handles multiculturalism better, though, insofar as like you have Little Italy and you have this sort of Chinese area and you have etc.
Yeah.
And yet there are people going from one area to the other. You can go for a meal in this area. You've got friends in that area. It feels like, yes, they have their communities, but they also interact and mingle.
Because historically it's been that way. You take England, which is basically was unchanged for 1,000 years, and you put in 1 million people. There's going to be...
Well, that's how multiculturalism has failed, is that you have these parallel societies living in their little blocks. And I think that's what Suella Braverman was talking about. A lot of people misunderstood what she was saying. They thought she was talking about multi-ethnic, different ethnicities. She wasn't that. She was talking about this idea of homogenous cultural blocks and treating people as those blocks rather than as individuals. I think that's what
Who is in favor of multiculturalism? Who is in favor of mass immigration?
Team World.
Team World.
Oh, Team World again.
I've been listening.
Lewis is just trying to get a new catchphrase. He's already got the death of love and non-story, and now it's going to be Team World. And I'm even helping him by repeating it, and I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't encourage him.